This episode is sponsored by Cradle Audio and Jaycen Joshua's Orion plugin, the ultimate tool for giving your drums power, punch, and weight in seconds. Orion is specially crafted for the drum bus, blending saturation, compression, and harmonic tools to bring out the best in your sound. Its complex parallel routing makes it easy to add the perfect depth and character to your drums. No need for multiple plugins. Orion's low latency keeps your performance sharp while letting you fine-tune the lift and harmonic EQ to bring your drums to life. Try it out and feel the difference. Shout out to Cradle Audio, and I'll also leave a link in the description below. This episode is supported by Highnote. Highnote is an audio sharing platform that brings your tracks, their versions, and people all into one secure place. Manage all of your audio revisions, upload and compare them seamlessly with their versioning feature. Plus, bring your conversations out of text messages and email and all into one central place with project-based chat and timestamp comments. We've been working with Highnote for a while now, but they've just pushed out some major updates with the brand new mobile app available in beta right now. You can sign up for free today. HMD viewers can get an extended 30-day free trial of their pro tier plus 25% off annual plans should you like what you see. Now, on to your episode.
It's been getting gradually colder.
Yeah,
How y'all doing, man?
I'm not gonna lie, this look cool here, bro.
This is really nice. We see this on a bunch of commercials.
Oh yeah. You know, the video come out, but we just did my MTV Cribs, so I invited the guys to the crib. You know.
Oh, so this is yours?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
You know, worked hard for it, bro.
Okay, yo, bro. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Appreciate you, man.
No problem.
You know,
man.
try,
for
man.
real. I'm pretty sure the person that actually like owns the studio would be like, not.
Nah,
with you.
I'm the person.
Anyway, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Devvon Terrell. Welcome to the Audio Nerds Podcast, the podcast for audio nerds like yourself. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Remember, one lucky person in the comment section is going to get that VIP Gold Edition Rosetta EQ or compressor. Also, remember, you can become a member of the channel, which you get a bunch of free goodies in the store. You can get these private Zoom calls. You get money in the store, and you get access to a bunch of exclusive content. For instance, our members, Ben, saw this video. Yep. Now, I'm just going to get right to it, bro.
Well, now, introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I definitely forgot about myself. Wow. It's your boy Devvon Terrell. I'm a Pro Tools user to the left of me.
FL user LJ here.
And you already know 12. It's always 1, 2.
What's your name, bro?
Courtney T.
Courtney T.
They call me 12.
But they call you 12. Awesome. And anytime y'all see us in a room where it's not our usual, you already know that we have a very special guest. Now, I'm going to be so honest with y'all. This guest is someone that we've been wanting on the podcast probably since its conception. This is a person that is a mentor to so many people, including myself.
Absolutely.
I probably don't even need to really talk to him because I probably know everything he does and watch every stitch of piece of content that he's put out on the internet. And I think that's really important to say. And I want to say that because I think there's a lot of people out there in different generations that know how the secrets, the techniques, and things of that nature don't get given as much as this guy has given back to us.
And he's provided more than just information. He's provided tools.
Yes.
It'd be quicker to name people he hasn't mixed for than to name his
people he's
his
mixed
credits.
for.
That's actually a great way to put that.
The Trillion Stream Man.
Yeah, that's a fact.
The Trillion Stream Man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have
Jaycen
Joshua, man.
Make some noise.
Jaycen.
Thank you.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
I am so happy to be here with the two of you. I've been watching you guys for quite a while now. And was wondering when I was going to get this call.
I mean, you know, you was wondering when you was gonna get this call from us?
Yeah.
What? Man.
I was like, man, they got all these people on there shining.
I'm crying. I don't know if you noticed, we've been shooting our shot with you for a minute, bro.
For years.
Like low key.
Oh, I did very low key. I didn't even know.
Man.
Well, the first thing we like to ask everybody when we have them on is, what was your DAW journey? So like, what was the first DAW you started in, and then like where are you now? So even if it was like tape or whatever, how did you like progress into like the DAW you use right now?
Yeah. So I came into the game right in between analog being the main source of your information being 2-inch and obviously bouncing down to half-inch or quarter-inch, whatever you're using. But my first experience into it was with Dave Pensado. That's when I really started kind of honing in on what my weapon of choice was going to be. And of course, you know, if your sensei is trained you in Pro Tools, you know, and that's all you know.
Right.
I've been a Pro Tools head ever since the game. I mean, I actually been a Pro Tool head when it was 2-track.
Oh wow! But it was only just when it was just straight 2-track.
We got a lot of sessions that were it was just 2-track. But yeah, fortunately enough, like I always tell people, you master one platform. Why would unless it's an exceptional improvement, why would you go to another platform? So it's been 20 years on Pro Tools.
Wow, straight up just 20 years on Pro Tools.
Nice.
Ooh,
wow, geez,
that
man.
is insane.
And there's so many techniques and so many things. I've seen your transition from analog to digital, right? Like I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, back in the day, you used to, and I found it so fascinating. You used to have two 1073s that you would import back for your mixes, like from the thing. What was your like mindset on that? Like just doing that kind of like move?
Back in the day, so I was on an SSL console. So I learned pretty much on a G and a J. Was never a fan of a J.
Wow.
And then begged Lavry to give Dave a K.
Okay.
Because he had a J. And I was like, we need a K, we need a K, Dave. We need a K, Dave. I just kept beating it in his head, and they got us a K.
Nice.
So I learned pretty much everything I know on that board through the tech staff. Not even Dave, because Dave was like, one thing you'll figure out in your journey as an engineer, about 10 years in, you'd be like, am I getting stupider? Am I getting dumber? Because all we do is use our brains for one thing. Mixing every day. So think about it. 20 years coming into this room and mixing records every day. And that's all you do.
Right.
Like Dave told me one time, he's like, man, I promise you, Jay, start doing little math stuffs in your head, do little quizzes, because and he'll tell you, like, the stuff that I used to do as an assistant, I don't even know how to do anymore.
Interesting.
I have no clue. I don't even know how to turn on my computer.
Wow. You know what's funny? I heard you mention one time, you said that if someone asked you to cut vocals, right? You was like, I'll get you a good vocal, but it would take you a little bit of time because it's been so long.
I will get you the greatest vocal.
Got you. Okay.
It would be insane. But we would be in the studio for a week tracking the first verse. Like, I'm not fast.
Got you.
And it's a different temperament, too. You have to have the utmost patience in the world to be a tracking engineer. And to me, the most important person in this, evolution of a record coming out is the tracking engineer.
Right.
He starts the game off. He's the first quarter.
Right.
Now I'm coming in at the fourth quarter.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that first quarter, we need the lead.
Right. Yeah,
and 9 times out of 10, we don't get the lead.
I get that.
Yeah.
What's funny is, when you say that type of stuff, I know that sometime in your mixes, right? Like, you used to have this FL, like, whole theory, like, right? Like, your whole philosophy on FL and, like, that sound that you get and stuff like that. So when you talk about, like, the tracking and the recording side of things, I think about kind of how you have like that transformer setup. Not sure if you still have that now, but I remember you used to like emulate that sound of like that FL from that soft clipper and stuff like that. Like, can you explain that process with your transformers?
So back in the day, man, I remember when FL first came on the scene, and one of the early clients that came in my room with it, was Mike Will.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, how the fuck? As a mixer, you start feeling yourself halfway through the mix. Let me listen to this bullshit rough against my shit.
Right.
And I would go back and forth. Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Like, what is going on? Right. What voodoo is this? And to be perfectly honest, it was wrong. Yeah. Like, in the sense of, in every words of where we were as engineers in, say, I think it was 2008 or 9 when I started working with Mike. But anyway, at that period of time, a very, very, very loud mix was subjugated to just the drums. Like the people who would give you stuff would give you loud. This was coming in hot on every angle because they were dumping it through the FL clipper and the limiter. Right. So the files were coming in hot.
Yeah.
So I had to say to myself, well, it's already hot. It's already super, super, super loud. What do I do now? And it was get out of the way of the record. Just let the record be because it's already been done. Let it breathe. And then just kind of usher it to its final resting place. But when you got records that didn't have FL Studio and everybody wanted that sound, he's like, what are you doing? So whenever I have a client and it's, he's working out of FL, just like, yo, dump it how you have it. I'll figure it out.
Right.
Because it changes a lot.
Right.
It changes what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? They get used to that sound and like where that, and to try to recreate it was something that was necessary because everybody was expecting, like, why does my shit sound like Mike Will? Well, you produce in
FL
in Reason.
or Reason, right? That type of
So
shit.
is that where your fruity setting in?
Yeah,
Orion
so that's when the transformers and the loud and all that extra stuff came into, because when you run your instruments, especially your drums, through a bunch of stuff, you're gonna lose things. You're gonna lose some of the bass. You're gonna lose some of the top end. You're gonna lose some of the transient, some of the grit. So it was a very easy decision to make. Like, you know what? Let me just add it after my drum bus. So that's when the parallels came in.
Gotcha.
And then now they've been added into Orion, so now I don't need parallels for my drum bus.
For your stuff at all. And I noticed that because there's a setting in Orion that says it's just called fruity, right?
Fruity.
Yeah, and I noticed that. And would you say that's kind of like inspired, like that
No,
kind of
it's
sound?
definitely inspired. It's
Gotcha.
it's a sound that a lot of producers go for that have like I'm really big on the saturated, clipper sound when it comes to drums.
Right.
I don't like it on vocals.
Okay.
I'm an old school guy, really big on dynamics.
Yeah.
I like a record to have music that is soft, that you barely can hear, so you can understand what quiet is. I love sounds that come out of nowhere and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Right.
Just to get your attention.
Yeah.
But like to me, the quest has always been to get a very, very loud record, which was started by Serban. A very, very loud record that seems extremely dynamic.
Right. Right. Understood.
Like how is it so loud, but yet I can reach in and touch stuff and so on and so forth.
Right.
They're like getting a -6 luff mix or whatever your point is means absolutely nothing if it doesn't sound good.
Right. Because obviously
I have people send me like stuff -4. I'm like, Jay, look what I got. I'm like, dude, that cannot sound
Wow,
good.
that's
right.
-4 is the danger zone.
Speaking of like just sounding good, I want to say the biggest thing that intrigues me about you is your versatility in your mixing. Like we could give you any genre and any whatever, and you'll make it sound good. And that's something that is not as widespread as, especially in newer engineers, and that takes time. That takes listening. And some of your mixes
It takes more than time.
Ooh, tell me about it. What else?
This industry is fucked up because it'll pigeonhole you immediately. So, for example, if you become extremely hot, say like an Ali,
Right.
fuck, fire, 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 flame, flame, flames.
Right.
Well, why isn't Ali doing Sabrina Carpenter? Why isn't Ali, doing Ariana Grande? Has nothing to do with Ali. He's a genius. And it's something that this business, like, once you become hot in a certain genre, that is your genre. Like a lot of people don't know, when I first started off, I was the pop guy.
Right. Right. Mariah, all of those
I was
people.
doing all the pop stuff because that's what Tricky and Dream were doing.
Right.
So all my clients, I started getting Celine Dion and all these people, and I'm just like, this is amazing, but like this is not what I came up on. You know what I mean? So I had to aggressively search out rap clients, hip hop clients.
wow.
Like they weren't just coming.
Right.
And then fortunately enough they did and things worked out. But like you have to, if you don't aggressively do it yourself, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
And
I wanted to ask him because this is such a mystery for me with you, even besides the technical stuff. It's like where you came from. Like and you can segue because we both know, like, I always heard things like you were already in, like, music industry wise, like you was on the exec side, like before even the mixing side. So, like, could you, like, how did you get your, like, start? Like, what's your early beginning?
Well, fortunately enough, me and my mother had the wonderful opportunity to have company with a revolutionary executive who was my godfather and my mother's boss, Gerald Busby.
Whoa.
So,
gotcha.
Wow.
I became his kind of like the kid he would throw ideas off of, you know, play me records, so on and so. So I'd always be around the office doing everything.
Yeah.
And then when he got his job at DreamWorks, he was like, I actually had this artist, 2 artists that he wanted to sign. Sunshine Anderson and Anthony Hamilton.
Wow.
And then I had Pharrell and the Neptunes in their deal. And then I had TQ. You guys remember TQ?
That name sounds so familiar.
West Side song.
He had like a
He had like a blink. Like he came, but he did it. But anyway,
TQ.
we were gonna bring him over to DreamWorks, and so he hired me, and I had a wonderful stint there. But I also worked with him at MCA and Motown.
Wow.
And I was a sponge, you know what I mean? And I think that's what gives me an unfair advantage and a disadvantage in my mixing. And what I mean by that is when I mix a record, I don't care what anybody thinks. I am trying to make this record the best record that I feel it could be.
Yeah.
Or else why are you coming to me? Like if I think something is not right, why would I leave it not right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the new 2-track demo, just keep it like it is world that we're living in, that doesn't fly too much. You know what I mean? Because people, you know, with technology that we have today, people get used to what the mixes are, or the rough mixes are. So with me, my philosophy has always been mixing like an A&R. Like I am, well, this is a hit.
Yeah.
As opposed to, yeah, this is cool, but it isn't a hit.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to make the record the best that it can be. And sometimes I win really, 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 really big. And sometimes I fail, meaning that the artist will come in and be like, it's a little too different, Jay.
Right, like this ain't it.
And I feel like that kind of rewinds to your proficiency, you being around all of those different sounds. Because MCA and Busby, we're talking New Edition. We're talking like that New Jack Swing push, and then switching from when he went to DreamWorks. And I mean, you mentioned it, this new.
But that's what mixing
R&B.
is. I mean, all mixing is. It's like everyone has ears.
Right.
But it's like, how did your ears get trained? What did you listen to?
Yeah.
What do you consider great? You know what I mean? So I have a lot of people who will tell me, like, you know, how do you know what a good mix is and this and that's? It's like, you don't know. You know what you like.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if what you like, and I always tell my clients this, and that's what scares the shit out of them. I'm like, all right, listen to me. If we go by your ears, and let's just say your ears are wrong, and we put the record out, and it doesn't do good, how would you feel?
Yeah.
Oh, I would feel good because it's what I want to put out, and like I want to stand on my shit.
Okay.
But then I said to yourself, I've been in with every producer in the world, every writer, every exec. I've heard every emotion, every insecurity, every fear, every great risk taking. Like, Mike Will saying, you know what? No, Jay, I want a distorted 808 to sound like dog shit.
Right.
And I'm like, really? So when you see that, you just say to yourself, what is the purpose of my mix? Is it to make this artist the biggest artist in the world that I feel, or is it just to give them exactly what they want? And there's a lot of people, like, I don't even know how to mix like that.
Right, understood.
Like I can't pull up a rough and just, like, when they want that, I just give it to my guys.
Yeah.
Be like, yo, just make it better.
Right.
But with me, but I always give the client what they want. Like I never don't do change. Like, I'm not doing any changes. This is the mix.
Right.
Never.
Okay.
Ever. I always always tell them you are the boss and you're going to get what you want.
Right.
But this is my starting point. This is where I feel we're undefeated.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it scares people, but a lot of times you change the game.
Just from personal experience, I've had the pleasure of receiving dozens of mixes back from you just as a producer to just check and shit. And it's always, I've never sent back a note, but I remember the first time. You remember?
Yes.
I was at your house. I was like, yeah, nigga, I just got a Jaycen mix. Let's go to the bigs.
So let me say this. So long story short, we have a lot of friends, right? Yeah. Obviously that you've mixed for that we have gotten like literally where he's produced on or we just produced on, and then they're like, yo, Jaycen is mixing. And we're like, oh shit, okay, cool, Jaycen mixing it, and we've gotten those mixes back, and we were like, yo, let's play it. Like, let's listen, and we're listening with a different kind of ear with it. We're not listening like as the artist, like, yo, he turned my vocals up or blah blah.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed with your mixes is the depth. So let me say this. When it comes to depth with you, I want to understand how you are going about like kind of just implementing that into your mix. Because I'll be honest with you, it was like an R&B record that we had that you sent back, and her vocal just felt like so pushed. It was so far back in the mix, and the low end felt way more forward, and I can feel that relationship. And she felt like she was in like this really like weird room. How are you going about like accomplishing like depth and stuff like that, especially with you being in the box too? Like, how are you going about like accomplishing that?
Well, it's I always tell people you're fighting voltage. You know, you're fighting a mathematical battle to get as much information before 0 dB full scale. So my first, because I didn't do this in the beginning, and there wasn't a need to until Serban took us to Mach 9. And when I realized we had to play at Mach 9, I said to myself, okay, whenever something is hitting at the same time and it's masking and they're in the same frequency range, I'm dipping everything. I'm dipping one's going to win, one's going to lose.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's the carve out. It's the like you'll have a bass line, right? And then here comes some roads that are like 300, 400, 500 hertz. And you're saying to yourself, all right, man, this sounds incredible. This sounds amazing.
Right.
But if you simply unmask that crossover point where the two instruments meet, all of a sudden it opens up.
Right.
That's why, like, back in the day, I would walk into, because I was be his assistant for the day, but an Andy Wallace mix.
Okay.
And he'd use nothing but the SSL. And it would always be reducing. And the mix would sound, and then, so me being a audio nerd, sneaking in like, all right, let me take all these EQs out to see what the fuck, because all he did was EQ.
Right.
Change the game.
Right.
Because you got to understand, you have all this information, and if this information is masking other instruments, it's like, I didn't even know that instrument was there. It was like, yeah, because the strings was fucking killing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just, example that everyone knows with the bass, it's like if the kick and the bass are hitting at the same, like you'll have something, when drummers will play the kick and the snare at the same time, and they'll hit, and then the bass line will hit, and the vocals hitting, everything's hitting at the same time. So it's like you're not going to see any depth with regards to volume level without helping yourself out. And then the other thing is, which a lot of people do not study and do not do, like, you have to study reverb. Reverb is so important because it's like reverb now. Like, I can tell the distance between you and I right now in this live room just by the fact of what's going on with the reverb and what's bouncing off these walls. So it's the same thing. So when I started really buckling down on early reflections, it changed everything.
Speaking of,
And I hear that.
Got to. Hold on. No, I got to. Speaking of the early reflections, you have in the I don't know if it's True Verb or just True Verb. You have, and literally I took it from you with my early panner.
Yeah.
That whole thing like was mind-boggling. And that's why I got to the depth thing with you, because that simple plugin, which is moving with the early reflections, that was nuts. I noticed that when I use it, I can make things feel, if I want something to feel like it's behind the vocal, I'll literally just use it. How did you come up with that? I know it's like you maybe coming from like the back in the days when it's like room mics and stuff like that with knowing where to place things, but like how did you come up with that plugin?
I lost a battle, a mixed battle.
Oh shit!
It was me and Tom Lord-Alge.
Wow.
Head Up.
Shout out to him.
Mano y mano. And I was still mixing with Dave. Like, we were still a team at that point. So this is probably like 2006 ish. And I'm mixing Beyonce record.
Okay.
I fucking murder it. I'm high-fiving myself. I'm like, you know that after dance mix that you do.
I did it. I smacked this.
Get the call from Trick. Hey, Jay, man, she loves it. Everything's amazing. Beats flawless. But the vocal, bro, I don't know what this motherfucker's doing.
Right.
But he's doing something with the vocal. I was like, it's only one lead and some background. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
Right.
Mix comes out. I listen to it. I'm like, holy shit. This motherfucker had, with the use of parallel compression, which I never put on the vocal until I went on my own. Like, Dave never used parallel compression to vocal. I never saw it.
Right.
So I didn't think it was the thing to do because I learned
From Dave.
But then when I heard this, I was like, oh, hell no. And it was right here.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But then there was ad-libs that were right there.
Yeah.
And then there was backgrounds that were there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm trying reverbs. And it's like, dude, it's too much reverb.
Right. Right.
And Dave in the background, dummy, just use the early reflections. That's it. That was it.
Wow.
And then I stumbled on True Verb, and it was just so fucking easy because you can just literally back, forward.
Yeah. It's visually literally right there.
And
Like,
it kind of, I feel like everything you just said about just the relationship between verbs and just where the bass is hitting and when everything's hitting on top of each other, it all, like, as you're saying it, it all makes it. Because my favorite all-time mix from you, well, right now at least, is the Fight For You. For the last few years, it's been
Well, that's
Fight For You,
that's
bro.
the one that when we did it, me and Mike looked at each other, and we were like, we're finally out of the box.
Wow.
Wow. Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, in the box. Yeah, it was the
I know what
first
you
mix that it beat the analog version by far.
Word. So there was,
Wow.
goodness, can you talk a
So
little bit
that was the
about
one that made you like.
Because it's
yeah.
very instrument heavy. I don't know if you know it off top. It's a her record, but it's
Right.
like it's James Brown sounding.
Right. No, I understand. I remember.
Bro, wow.
It's lo-fi, but it's hi-fi.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And those are hard records to do. To keep that,
Essence of what it,
wouldn't
you know,
ever-
of
but
you know,
yet
that
you
sound.
still have to be competitive with what's
Right.
out there on the radio. But yeah, that was
Right.
a definite moment where it was like, wow, the God Particle's done.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And then we released it.
Holy shit.
Wow. So question for you as far as your setup. Like, you don't, and obviously I know you're in the box and everything like that, but you're not even using like anything conversion wise, like even just from A to D, D to A. Like, you're straight up just.
Yeah, I
in
always
the
get
box.
I always get people like, oh, he's using the Lavry Gold, and that was probably my biggest mistake,
What you mean?
bro. There's a Pensado episode that came out 800 years ago with me on it, right?
We seen it.
And I was like, yo, we need first person who makes the Fruity Loop clipper in fucking in Pro Tools or for everybody else, it's over. And then I'm sitting here using the secret weapon that a lot of people, it's an older, like, I think the Lavry is technology is probably like 25 years old.
Yes, it is old. Yeah.
And every master in the house had it that was going from digital to analog, and vice versa. And I just said to myself, like, damn, why didn't we fucking invent this plugin from the rip?
Right.
But I wasn't even thinking about plugins.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Back then. So I had no idea. But he really helped a lot of us out with that plugin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Standard clip is still good, and I go back and forth between
Sure.
Gold clip and standard clip because it depends on what it's giving me.
Right.
But yeah, he really helped the game out.
Yeah,
So that's
shout
an
out Ryan.
That's an
Shout out
impressive.
Ryan.
Yeah. We had him on we had him on the show, and we had him really break it down to us.
Yeah.
And he was even kind of explaining how he has like different Lavries, like kind of like with some of the settings as far as how it's doing it. He even explained the gold knob to us, where he was like, basically it's like compression without attack and release. And he was like, cause that gold knob,
Capping.
bro, hey,
Cap.
what you mean?
Cap.
What you
That's all I'm
mean?
going to say is cap.
Interesting. Explain.
Well, to me, It's better than the Lavry.
Interesting.
Oh.
And the reason why I'll give you that, it doesn't sound exactly like it.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty fucking close. But you don't really have like a mix knob. Because like the gold knob is basically like a mix knob. When you have the Lavry, you're just pushing straight into it.
Gotcha. Yep.
And the one that I have had, like before, you had to turn on the soft clipper.
Okay.
And that's what a lot of people don't know what the unfair advantage of the Lavry was. Is when you pushed into it, it was like a soft clipper and it gave you louder mixes. It was like a analog soft clipper. But he fucked the game up with the Alchemy. Like
With cleaning up the top.
that is fucking voodoo.
Yeah. Because he's cleaned up all like the artifacts at the top end, like when it clips. So got you, and he updated it too. It's like he added a little more, like.
Well,
to it.
that's the thing. Like I always tell people, why are we making like old shit? Like, don't make fucking sense. Like I got, and that's why I've hit it off so good because I'm like, I got shit in my head that I need that we can make. Right. Like we're in the day and age that you can make anything, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
So, and I keep getting on him because there should be so many assistant programs. So when you're done, it just does everything for you and you just walk out.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Bounce
That's what's needed because time is everything and you don't want to.
Absolutely.
Can I have stand?
Yeah,
Put
absolutely.
it in the prompt.
And just let it ride.
What's the
Bounce Butler, Soundflow, like the
Soundflow,
Stream
yeah,
Decks,
there's a bunch
like
of
it's
those,
They got some shit, but I'm talking about like a real, like, dude, we are in that day. Like, if a robot's making me breakfast,
Come on, bro.
bounce my steps.
Facts. Nah,
So,
type shit.
I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and go back to your journey because this morning, so I'm on the phone with my manager talking about regular stuff, and I said, "Yo, I'm doing my Jaycen interview today," and he knew how excited we were for that. But he's like, "Man,
Quan Prather,
Mr. KP, Mr. Prather," and I told he was like, "Let me tell you a KP, not a KP story, a JJ story." He's like, "So when I was signed to DreamWorks, he was my A&R." And he directed this video. He sent me the link. And I said, yo, Jay, Courtney, we're all going to watch this video together. So first of all, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about just that era in your life and how you, I guess, shifted into engineering like full time.
like, you got to understand, as a mixer, I look at it like you're an even playing field. Not only with the producer, but with the artist. You bring a lot to the table.
Absolutely.
And that kind of has been lost in recent years. I don't think engineers realize how important they are. Now, you'll have artists be like, man, or big-time producers be like, without my engineer, without my producer, I'd be nothing, and so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, okay, well, give them a point.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, you are not a mix engineer until you get a point. Until you give them a reason to give you their royalties, you're an engineer.
Understood.
You're doing what you're told.
Right.
And having the confidence and believing in yourself and falling on your own sword. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can to blow. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might be telling you something. They might be telling you ain't got the ears.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're just going to do exactly what they say, then, you know, that's a different kind of engineer for myself. But what was the original question? Because I went on a fucking tangent.
Good. With
like
KP,
original, like I guess the A&R.
So going back,
I was
going
in.
back to that, so going back to KP, it has me like my mind thinks creatively.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think like every dope mixer. You ready for this? Is a fucking producer in the closet. In the fucking closet. I don't care.
Right.
You secretly have dreams like, man, I could make, but we don't have no melodies. We are, or I consider myself an extension of the producer. I'm the producer's producer.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because if it was right where they left off, then that's where it would be. And sometimes that's where they want it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, technology has put producers in a very, very better seat than they were before in creative, you know, decisions and stuff like that. But like with me, going back to shooting a video for KP, it's no different than it's art. You know what I mean? Like I interior decorate.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
I love going to museums.
Right.
So what we do is a gift. You know what I mean? That a lot of people can't do, and a lot of people don't understand. And you know, I'm very appreciative of people like KP because he gave me an opportunity to fly off the wall. And that's what it happens with mixes. That's what Dream and Tricky gave to me. The reason why my success was so skyrocketed so quick was because these two geniuses on their highest level of run, they were on the top. They were the top guys.
Sure.
Let me do whatever the fuck I want.
Right.
Like, whatever the fuck I want. Like, bro, I was doing ad-libs before the Migos had ad-libs. Like, if you go back to the early records, there's no ad-libs. I'm making delays for the ad-libs.
Yeah.
Right.
So all the effects and shit that you hear now, it wasn't even existed.
Yeah. Right.
So it's having clients that give you the confidence to be like, dude, you're the shit.
Right.
Because you know, we all know, like, you get a new client, right?
Yeah.
I hope they like the mix.
Type shit.
You
Right.
you send the shit out and you're like,
Please, yo. We just
I don't want no bullshit.
Facts.
Let's go.
About that.
But then you got clients that are like, nigga, like your biggest fucking fan.
Yeah.
And that's when you get to fucking
Go crazy.
So imagine
Right.
every mix you do, you get to go crazy.
Right.
Yep.
That's me.
Right. Speaking
And then
of,
they love it or they shit on it.
right, that part, you know, you take chances, man.
Yeah.
With a lot of stuff, like you take chances that I think a lot of mix engineers be scared to death to do. One in particular is, and I don't know if it was more of a chance on this record. I'll let you give the other one. You know what I'm talking about? I'll give that one to you. One record in particular is Despacito, right? Like, when that record came out, it was so competitive to everything, like on earth. Like, to me, it was just like, I've never heard that particular sound as far as like the sonics of it hitting like that, like on radio. Like,
especially for that genre. And it's
right.
What makes it scary, to add on what you're saying,
Sure.
what makes it scary is not only are you that's why I was so big on like your proficiency in all these genres, because not only are you taking chances, these chances then become the standard.
the standard of them.
You know what I mean?
Like, you can't, like, that record is like, bro, it gotta be, it's
And
that
now
or
it's
nothing.
everybody's
You know what I mean?
reference
To me,
mix.
like, when you approach that record, like, what was your mindset for? You was like, yo, I'm gonna make this bang. Like, what was your like mindset to make it like that?
So you're never going to give a great mix if you're not mixing like yourself. So if you're going into a mix, right, and you bring it up and you're like, all right, I'm going to mix this record. Let me listen to some stuff that they had before, see what their vibe is, or whatever the case may be. And you mix like that instead of just free-flowing. Imagine somebody putting parameters on Picasso, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
So going into a mix, I'm sitting there. What was the original question?
Just as far as like what made you decide to take that
there you
chance
go.
to make it
So
like
with these
that,
guys, like I said
sonically?
before, with these guys, they were so. First of all, when they first called, they were just big fans.
Dope.
They were like, "Yo," and this is another gem. You will get most of your work from your hit.
Yeah. We hear that all.
And you'll get a lot of work. A lot of work. You will become a pretty consistent working engineer if you have an exceptional artist that you've done.
Yeah.
So if you look at all the mixers, they have someone who took them to another level. For example, Serban. Who would that be? Who took Serban to the final level?
It was
Who took the Grand Master?
it's Teddy. It was Teddy.
Teddy Riley.
Teddy,
Yeah.
for
Oh
sure.
my
Teddy put him
goodness,
through boot camp.
Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, the producer will teach you way more
Right.
than another engineer will ever teach you.
Wow.
Because techniques are one thing, but it's the ear.
Right.
Like learning Calvin Harris's ear.
Yeah.
Learning Pharrell's ear. Like, I'll have him in the room and I'm studying his ear because that's Pharrell.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not studying when you get a client come in and they bring their homeboy and the homeboy goes, "Oh, I don't think it has enough bass." And you're like,
Yeah.
Fam.
so my point is that the Despacito guys, when they came into the game, they were like, I know you don't know us. We have no money, but we heard your Chris Brown mixes, and we love it. Wow. So I can tell you my Chris Brown run that I had probably got me the most work.
Yeah. Wow.
Because a lot of people were like, all around the world were like, what the fuck? This is so fucking amazing.
Like,
Right. So when the Despacito boys came in,
It was a
I felt like I could do anything.
Yeah.
Like, all right. And lo and behold, you know, they let me do my thing with the drums, and
it was a
people were like, now I always tell people, it's like, I give Serban his credit, I give Manny his credit, I give Ali, I give all the guys, Neil, everybody they credit.
Right.
But I opened the floodgates.
Gotcha.
Niggas started eating.
For real.
Nobody was eating in Latin America before me. No one.
Understood.
Not even the top guys. Then everybody wants the top guy. They're like, oh, because Latin music started making serious coin. So we can afford the top guys now. Now everybody's mixing Latin records, from Josh to everybody.
Right.
And the same thing is with K-pop.
Yeah, that's
Everybody's doing K-pop.
Yeah, that's a wild one for sure.
Like, bro, I was BTS the first one.
wow. I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's
Before
crazy.
everybody.
Right. Like started getting on that.
Now everybody's K-pop.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to ask you, there's one time you mentioned something about Max Martin, right? Which is crazy, right? Well, like one of the biggest producers on earth.
Yeah.
And when you talk about like,
Who I worked with only one time.
wow.
And it was amazing.
Wow. Gotcha.
And he was like, whatever the fuck you do. What was the EQ again? I fucking forgot. What's his EQ? Channel strip? Whatever you fucking. Metric Halo, yeah. Metric Halo on everything.
He said metric halo on everything, like on every track.
That's the key.
Can I say something? I've also heard that that's like Serban's thing. Like he just uses that metric halo channel strip on every single track.
Listen to me. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Right.
But
I
know that's Crew's little
thing. Do you think that there's something on it from a, okay, this is nerdy, like from a summing standpoint where it's like differences between every one that gets put in a
it's
track?
distortion. It's a different type of distortion that they like.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? They like, it's like the CLA. Fucking old ass, fucking no changes, no updates, nothing.
Ever.
They got a tone.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
do.
Right.
So it's got a tone.
And they just like that thing on everything.
I wonder.
Let me finish. Can I finish off that question? So with that being said, with Max, I remember, and I don't know if I'm misquoting you, but I remember one time you said that there was, in the session, there was a little bit of white noise, right, in his session. And you muted it. Because he was like, the fuck is this? Like, whatever. And muted
I wasn't hip to game.
Gotcha. And then you said that he called you and was like, hey, put that little white noise back.
Change the game. And then, I had to study and learn.
Right.
So I had to listen to it with the white noise and without. And I'm like, oh my God. All the reverb tells. It was like super dither.
Holy shit.
It's like dither on steroids.
Wow.
And it keeps your ears on alert 24/7. I think he still does it.
I was wondering what that purpose was, because I was thinking about depth. I was like, it's the quietest thing probably in the mix.
It's the depth that it gives to your reverbs.
Wow, specifically it gives to the reverb. Okay, is it
because you have the constant sound going in, so you don't have those fragmented tails at the end.
Yeah.
So it really helps for the stuff that you can't hear, like the early reflections.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it doesn't. Yeah. Wow.
So my
it's like
question to you is, where was it placed? Was it just like a track, like just straight up
Oh,
underneath?
and not to go off topic, you reminded me like 20 years ago when I found out about it too. I was like, wait, what? When you bounce, it dithers? I saw that on your
Bro,
I
was like,
I had no idea. I'm
Bro,
double dithering.
I was sick as I was so sick that day, bro.
I'm double dithering.
I double dither. Yo, can I say something? Thank you, God. Because if you notice that later, like, bro, I noticed that so late. I didn't know that. Like, Pro Tools never said
Pro
anything.
Tools there's no
communication.
Wild West.
Bro, you just don't know.
Hey, man.
I double did it. People's like, you didn't know? I was like, no, motherfucker, I didn't know. Damn. But that's crazy. So on the white noise, and I got you, I'll switch over to you. On the white noise thing, you noticed that it's just kind of, how was it just like a track underneath? Like, where was it? Like, how was it?
Yeah, it was probably in the sound effects tracks and just the constant. Like it was a nice white noise.
It wasn't
like there's different kinds of white. I don't know where he got his white noise, but it was a nice. It felt like the beach.
Man, I've heard you make that joke too. I died laughing at Mixing Master. You were like, there you goes, you get the beach. Like shit, just like mad noise. Because I tried it. Like when you put me onto that, I literally was going around just like experimenting, like throwing a little bit, finding the right number. I was like right underneath and like playing with stuff, and I would notice little differences. Like I feel a difference when I have it under and stuff like that. But I had to bring that up because he touched on it one time in a conversation, but never like elaborated. What was you gonna say?
Kind of one of my favorite questions to always ask, because especially for you, your discography looks like the biggest, like now that's what I call music playlist ever.
Playlist 25.
Like you'll look back at it by Boogie and then fucking Love by Keisha Cole. So I would love to know, for especially because you've been doing it for so long, is there any techniques that have stuck with you over the years that you like just can't get away from?
Yeah. I think the most important is gang structure and figuring out that -5 point when it came to drums. And what I meant by that is like everyone has their different systems, drum bus, so on and so forth. But I found out when starting a mix that has drums, and the kick being the loudest instrument, to get that kick to your stereo bus before it's hitting the limiter, like I said before, always start your mix with a limiter for me. And having that -5 buffer was the absolute perfect margin for me. So when I added the instruments, the vocals, it was a super pocket.
Gotcha.
So I've kept that -5 since the beginning. But the most important thing that I think that's always stayed with me was that I never liked the fact that you had to choose between the kick and the bass. Hey, what's gonna win? You got a fucking kick. What frequency? You dip the kick here and you dip the bass there. It's like it's match. I was like, man, and then that's when that technique came to part. Like, wait, the kick has the same oomph as the bass. You don't notice it. So that's when I started doing that.
The trim tool with the gain, with the clip gain.
Double up. So we do the trim tool early in my career, like on that first when I released it, I was just doing the trim.
Okay.
But then I got what did you think? Like another dB and a half of headroom once I put the sidechain, the soothe on top.
Gotcha.
We were rudimentary back in the day. We were doing like whatever compressor we thought was the fastest, and then we would have to print it and move it, because it wouldn't be fast enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's another plugin that I wouldn't. It might be integrated in Bass Invader, the greatest sidechain ever made. Like I don't understand with all the look aheads and all. Why can it not start right on that first tick?
Right.
Instead of like a little bit back or whatever. Like doesn't make any sense.
Right. Bass Invader. Is that something you're thinking about?
No, it's already in production.
Gotcha.
Speaking of,
so like right now. Orion's just for drums.
Right.
You can use it for 808s and stuff like that, but it's just for your percussive drums, so your kicks, your snares, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But with Bass Invader, it's a different compressor, same drive section as Orion, different compressor, saturation. It actually splits the bass into 2 frequencies, so when you put the plugin on, it's automatically low end, high end. You can spread the high end.
Oh, you multed it.
Got you. Yeah, it's crazy. And then it has the built-in greatest sidechain ever made.
Right. Oh my. So you're gonna mult it within the plugin and then just let it react to the. Wow. So that's how you're gonna have.
And I got my my Duke graduate, supreme mix engineer Mike working on the only task I need from him. Is for Orion and Bass Invader to communicate with each other. So you don't have to send a sidechain. It already reads the kick from the Orion.
From the Orion, it just does it automatically.
That's so sick.
Bass Invader on the way, y'all.
Wow.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
While we're on that,
Go ahead, Court.
because while we're on the low end, I do have particularly a record that Dave seen me talk about.
I heard
on
about
this,
you, Corey. I know. I heard you the fan. I heard you the fan favorite.
I've been waiting for this.
Give me the gem. This is the gem of the day. Corey, hit him with the gem.
Do you know how the hive is gonna go crazy? Like, oh, we told you. Even Jaycen knew.
I've been talking about this moment in one of your mix with the masters ad nauseum because it completely changed my mind around how one processes low end, and it was seeing you mix going bad and throwing Limitless onto that 808. What was two-part question? What was the mentality that made you say this needs to like bang a lot more than where it's at now? And how are you, like, if you're not using Limitless anymore, what are you using in practice to kind of achieve that same effect when you need to?
Yeah, because you changed that 808. Like,
Oh God!
from where it was to what it, like as a artist, I would have been like, that's different.
Yeah.
Like,
No. You don't understand how different that track was. Like, I'm a fucking animal, dude. No, like when I look back at it, I'd be like, dude, you're fucking crazy.
wow.
Bro, he'll tell you. I just got the RC20 plugin, and I was hyped.
Yeah.
So I put the wobble on 8,000. So if you listen to the piano, it's bring, bring. It wasn't like that. It's a regular ass piano.
Wow.
Right.
It wasn't. Bring, bring. It didn't sound like it was going through a broken VCR.
Right.
Way.
So when I sent it, I don't know if it was Drake's engineer or Meek's engineer. Hey man, I don't think Drake's gonna like this. It was Drake's.
Was Drake? Oh, I thought it was Cruz.
I don't think Drake's gonna like this.
What?
I said, has he heard it? Not yet, but I don't think he's gonna like this. I said, can you play it for him?
Shit.
Okay. No changes.
No chance.
Wow.
And that's the blessing you get. Like sometimes, and then I tell people when other people hear it, it's like I can sit on my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The worst thing that could ever happen to you young engineers is when you get your superstar client. Like, this is my shit. I'm about to mix da 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 da.
Right.
And the source material's shit. They want you to fucking mix it just like the rough, and then it comes out. You don't even want to tag yourself.
Yeah.
You don't even want to put it up. You're like, man, my peers are going to fucking be like, oh, this nigga got fucking Jay-Z and did this bullshit.
I hear you.
And my assistants will tell you, man, there's time I've taken my name off projects.
Right.
Like,
Just-
you want to keep these mixes? All right. Don't put my name on it.
Right, because obviously, you know,
It's a brand, man.
You're right, because you know, I'll be honest with you. When it comes out and I see your name attached to it, it does put a different.
You're judging immediately.
Yeah, I'm judging. Yeah, I'm like, just as Jaycen. You know what I mean? Like, every mix I've heard, every time I hear you're mixing an album or stuff like that, like I judge that. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, this is Jaycen. Like, mixed this.
There'll be times where I'll hear like a mix and I'm just like, yeah, it's too good. I know who did this one. I was listening to, she put out like 2 albums this year, but Kehlani one. I think it was the second one that came out, the mixtape. And off rip, the intro is like just drums. It's probably my favorite record of the year. It's called Love Like.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this shit is smacking.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it is smacking. And lo and behold,
Right.
Muse AI tells me
that he did it. You know what? Something I learned from you. You made me rethink how I look at plugins and how I judge them. One time you said this, and like for the next 6 years, I was like, that's what I'm thinking. When the way you talk about voltage, right? And I seen you actually, like, I think you commented something to this one time. I was talking to somebody else about it, and we were talking about the black box, for instance. And we were talking about how you came up with that setting that literally you would put the setting on your mix bus, and it would sound like 2-3 dB louder, but it would not move. Like, there was no voltage that would get eaten up from your headroom standpoint. And that changed everything for me. And I remember going further back, you and Dave would have this conversation when Dave was like, I guess he was going through like I don't want to say a rough patch, but a moment where he's like, competition-wise, like, why can't I get this shit loud? And saturation and harmonics started to come into
Yeah,
like,
well, that's the thing with Dave. It's like, and a lot of these amazing engineers of, and it's crazy that he's still fucking mixing like crazy.
like a madman.
But
right
like
now.
in the 80s, you know, if you're mixing the 80s and there was no need for saturation.
Right.
Everything was open. First of all, you couldn't make things loud because you had to dump everything to vinyl.
Right.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And if it was too loud or too much bass, the fucking needle would skip.
Yep.
So everything was like a comfortable, and, you know, people say it sounded better. But I think it sounded better because it didn't sound better, first of all. But I think is appreciated because the creators of it were the best of the best. Like when you had to make records in the 80s, the best of the best made the records.
Yeah.
Like there was no, I'm gonna do it in my house and the
Yeah.
homeboy and the da 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 da.
Right.
So that's why. But now it's like you cannot tell me you can go to any of your mixes, Dev, and play it against any record on Thriller.
Right.
Now, obviously, Thriller's Thriller.
Got you.
But you're going to say as an engineer, I mean, it's 30 years.
Yeah, it's
You get better. You know what I mean? And that's why I laugh when people go like, analog is different. I was like, bro, there's not one analog mix that I will not assassinate.
That's
We're past that part. That part is done.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Now, there's analog stuff that gets brought to the table that makes a record sound absolutely amazing.
Right.
Manny's one of them. Like, he knows how to make that console dance and do all this stuff and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But it's like, if you're doing 5 records, how does that even work?
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? That's like, there was a time we were doing 5 records a day.
Right.
which is
I heard it was back in the day.
Too much.
It was like
I was like, dog, I had to retire. I was like, dude, I'm retiring.
Wow.
I was dying.
Right. I heard it was in Larrabee. It was like 3 rooms. It was you, Dave, and Manny. All on that.
So
at
me
the
and
same
Dave
time.
started in one room first, and then we got so hot as a team together. I was like, yo, Dave, put me in one, and we can do 2 records at the same time.
Right.
So we had it all slicing and dicing, and then it got so much for me that I was like, fuck. And I was still on the board. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do right side, left side. So right side would be one mix, left side would be another mix.
Gotcha. Okay, so you started
On my
breaking-
80 channel board.
Okay.
And then it got so crazy that we went right side, left side, big fader, small fader.
oh shit.
Wow. So you just kept breaking it up. Like,
Yeah, and to go back to your earlier questions, the reason why my system was so, I guess you could say different, drum-wise, is I didn't like how punchy the amps on the SSL made my drums. So I would bypass the 9000's preamp
Okay.
and come in on the insert with my 1073s.
Wow.
That's
And
why.
gave me a more rounder thumpity thump.
kind of low end and stuff like that. That's funny. And you would also use that in tandem with the Bob Power trick. With
Yeah, with the so Dave did have a little bit of parallel compression when it came to the kick and snare. So that's why I learned that at. But no saturation, no like hitting tubes hard and then that. Like I didn't know any of that in the beginning because he would like. And to this day, I listen to his records and I'm like, how the fuck did he get him like this?
Right.
Without the use of that.
Right.
But that's when mastering engineers were really truly artists.
Gotcha. At that
Because they
time.
brought that in.
Right. And they would had access to like mid side. Like we wasn't privy
Everything.
to that yet.
Yo, they used to go crazy, but like me, Dave would go nuts. Like, what is he do? Like they would make it like when that widening thing came out, or
Oh,
whenever,
my
I
goodness.
forgot the first plug in the whatever it was, not plug in analog gear that it was. But Dave was like, man, that shit came out. Everybody was making my shit. I had no bass.
Just phasing it.
They
fucking
were
it
like
up.
making it wide because it was cool. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
we got the wide mix.
Right, but it was destroying the phase of everything for the most part.
Hey man,
Jeez Louise.
I think
You got
I
go
think I
ahead.
want to play a game.
Go ahead, man.
Let's go.
So we like to play a game. Score on one, gotta go. We'll give you a couple of choices, and you just tell us which one you'd throw away. Tell us which one you throw away forever.
Okay.
Okay. We're gonna start with Soothe versus Spectre.
By the way, Mike just said
Soothe versus
Soothe
Spectre.
versus or Spectre. Which one
Yeah.
gotta go?
Not because one is better than the other.
Sure.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But there's not too many tools
Uh-huh.
that replicate Spectre.
Gotcha.
So Soothe, you gotta go.
Gotcha.
That's me and you right there. That's a point for you and I right there.
Yeah,
we talk to him about
be
Spectre
honest.
all the time about saturation in an EQ form factor.
Yeah.
Like that has been like life changing for like me, like personally. So cool.
Our
Well, that's what everyone is. They just put it in bands.
Right.
Yeah.
So like everyone, what they do is the character knob is the frequency, where you want it to the saturation to be. Now you just got multiple.
Bam.
I just wish the Q was smaller. Like, bro, like,
Yeah.
the band is like, dog, you can't give me a smaller cue?
Yeah, it'd be kind of sometimes I want to
what y'all
niche
doing?
it. Yeah, facts. Next one.
But that's what happened, and that's part of the plug. I encourage more engineers to start thinking about getting into the software business.
Yeah.
Because the people who are making them are not us.
Yeah.
They're fucking smarter than dog shit.
Right.
They can make some great algorithms, but they ain't us. They don't know exactly what we need and what we're looking for.
Right.
So it's like, if you were working at who makes Spectre?
Waste
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 Factory.
Factory.
If you were working at Waste Factory, you'd be like, hey, we should do this. It would make it way better.
Right.
But they ain't thinking.
Right. They're not thinking like that. That's why Ryan
how
has it
big?
like on lock. Go ahead.
R bass, R comp. Oh, I gotta go.
Hard bass.
Let go R bass.
I agree.
Okay. I've told you.
Only reason why is I literally can make R comp do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true.
Do anything.
Right.
And I can replicate what our bass does.
Gotcha.
It's just harmonics again.
You did something. Stop right there. You did something wild one time that I couldn't even. I had to sit with it for a day because it threw me off so much. You took a R comp and you put it on a mix bus one time. I think it was going bad too, actually. And when the bass and stuff wasn't in, there was no compression, so it sounded loud. It wong dong dong dong. Then when the bass doom, then it kind of closed back in. Like, I'm trying to understand how you like figured that out and like what is that process of how you, because I would never think an R comp on a mix bus to like try to create dynamics like that. Like how did you come up with that, or like what is that technique?
It's necessity. So we mixed the record the day before,
Right.
or the night before, and it came out that morning. So we were mastering it.
Wow. Okay.
So with the R comp at those particular settings, like a 1.25 ratio,
Right.
slower release, and like a 30 millisecond attack, what it does, it's almost like the ghetto version of what is it called? Golfloss?
Golfus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a ghetto version of that. It just glues everything together. So it's actually a mastering parameters.
Gotcha.
So it would be like if you went to a mastering house and they put a little compression on your shit, it would probably be a very, very low ratio because it just brings everything together.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
It's like glue.
Yeah. And that's what it did. I was just so thrown off by it because I was like, yo, that's an R comp. Like that's wild. Okay.
But see, that's what a lot of plugins companies does too. How many times have we pulled up a plugin and it looked goofy as hell and we're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Facts.
Makes everything.
So the R comp is like, it's a workhorse, man, but because it looks the way it looks and it's been around for 59,000 years. But if I need a quick compression,
Absolutely.
it's not.
That's that straight up.
All right, we got the 404, the McDSP, and the C6.
C6 is dead.
Wow, got you. Okay,
Dead.
dead. Got you. I remember you used to use it to like for like very fine like frequency.
No, it's
resonance.
even more so. Like people, it's so funny when people get my my template, and they see it. They kind of understand like what it's doing. They see the two notches and shit like that. But with compression, everyone has to understand with the attack and release, without even hitting the compressor, you're changing the tone on it.
Right.
So if you analyze my C6 settings, don't look at the two notches. Look at the highest band, the high frequencies, and then the high mid frequency band.
Okay.
If you look at the attack, it's much quicker than the bottom, where the texture of the voice is.
Yeah.
Right.
So it really helps me with that screechy stuff.
Like a
So,
sizzly.
and if you move the actual bands from right to left and find your sweet spot, it really changes the tone. And that's that last 2, 3, 4%.
Right.
But half of my mixes, I take it off because of that attack setting. Even though I can make the attack setting a lot higher, it compresses it a little bit too much. And I don't need those notches. And those notches were actually, C6 was actually being used before they invented Fab Filter.
Gotcha. Okay. And you're talking about
So the dynamic EQing.
Gotcha. Oh, you
So
put-
it wasn't a dynamic EQ, but it was a notch. It was notching out those frequencies that I didn't want to have in it. And at the time, you didn't have, the fab filter dynamic to just draw it in and
And just
fucking
call
take
it a
out.
day. Man, did I get that
And
from you.
that's the thing. Like, people don't even understand. Like, fab filter EQ is good. Sounds good because it's clean. Like, anybody can make that algorithm. But it's the fucking GUI, dude.
It's the GUI's unmatched.
You can see it. It's just done.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to tell plugin companies. Like, oh, man, just make it easier for the user.
Yeah.
That's all
You
it
know,
is.
make
All
it
knobs is
super
knobs.
and fun to look at.
Right.
And you have a better shot because there's so many good plugins that look like shit. They has no shot of making it.
At all.
Right,
At all.
exactly.
I don't even. That shit just turns me off.
Yeah, he's a big
Audio.
GUI guy. I'm a big GUI guy too, though. I
But it's
understand
just-
that.
That shit,
You got- you got
yeah.
another one?
The last one, it's not really one gotta go, but it's more prioritize more. What do you prioritize more? Your workflow or your sonics?
What do you mean by workflow? Like how much work I'm getting?
So workflow, as like, say for instance, if you knew like this one piece of equipment is like what it's adding to the sonics of everything, like you look really
Oh,
impressive.
no, fuck that. Yeah, hell yeah. If there was a piece of outboard gear that I could put on my shit to give me a 0.5% boost, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd do it. But what analog piece of gear am I going to get to make my mix better when everyone is using the same gear, same everything? It's going to be where your ear takes you.
Yeah.
You know, I can give you 10 different plugins that you never use, but I can give you 2 days to do the mix because you got to figure the plugins out.
Yeah.
It'll sound exactly the same as you're using your other plugins because your ear takes you there.
Yeah.
Get you.
Wow. I
Definitely
never
a
heard
workflow
that.
thing
actually.
for sure.
I didn't
And
put
that's
that
what
together.
engineers don't do. They don't train their ears, bro.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
There's not one mixer I know that walks into a mix and listens to other records first.
Wow.
It's no difference in a vocalist. Vocalist comes in, me, 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 do, 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 do. They got to get their tone. Like, how do you know what is good if you ain't heard it in a while? And that's what happens to a lot of legends. They'll stop listening and be like, I got this. That's what I do. Like, nigga, it's changing. You better pay attention.
Right, right. And that's it.
Interesting.
Something, you brought up to me, like when I looked at the Orion plugin, and by the way, like, amazing, right? Like, a lot of people are like, I'm even finding my place in it because it is a big plugin. When I say big plugin, I mean like it does so much.
Yes.
I know it's intended for drums, but there's so many of us behind
Oh, so
closed doors.
many you can do.
Yo.
It's a plugin that can be used on any aux or drum, synths or anything because everything you see on it
Right.
is needable tools for your record. So yeah, it'll work out for you. But I have a lot of people asking me, it's the funniest thing. They'll be like, man, all we need is a mix knob on it. And I'm like, bro, I understand what you're saying, but every parameter that you see on Orion has a mix knob.
Right.
100%, 0. So instead of having a universal one,
Right.
you have one because it's a very user the way you use it is going to sound completely different than the way I use it. And I change the parameters like never.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like never. But I can still shape its tone by what I do underneath the hood.
Gotcha.
And that's what I try to make it be. So like I tell a lot of times we get overhyped drums. This is not going to be the best on overhyped drums if you start from the default. But if you put everything to 0 and just start adding, you're done.
Right. It's a
As
wrap.
long as you get to -5 on your indicator, you're good.
You know, when you say the -5 on the indicator, and by the way, I'm one of those kids that when you kind of showed us your mix bus back in the day, but
Yeah.
pre-guard particle,
yeah.
we copied these settings.
Isotope?
Yes, with the Blue Cat, yo. Shout out to Pro Beats. I know because he like put it up and was like, oh, you could download. And he like, bro, we all had like that isotope imager.
Hey, wasn't that shit a
everything.
game changer?
It
though?
was OD.
You put that
Bro.
shit on, bro. I was like,
And you would set it. You said, yo, if you this number should be this number should be this, and you're good. And after that, bro, I was mixing into that. Like that was my whole thing, like for a minute. So when I look at, for instance, Orion, a lot of people had the question too about the NLS channel trick that you had for years and things of that nature. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe, I don't know if it's the color mode or what section is related to that NLS channel, like kind of
that
workflow.
would be the drive section.
the drive.
So the drive section, C, I believe,
Okay.
is the exact replica of what I felt that chain was giving me.
Right.
C is also one of my go-tos and one of my favorites because it gave me a little bit more movement than the than A, and B is just a little lesser version of A. But to put a mix knob on that, Voodoo is nearly impossible. But that's what's coming, hopefully, on Orion too.
Gotcha.
The mix knob for drive. Now, if we have a mix knob for drive, it's fucking over.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that doesn't have the mix knob. But like I said, man, if you hit it some -1, -2, even if you hit it at like -4, right, to get that whatever sound you're looking for, you're still going to hit your 2-bus at -5.
Yeah.
Right.
You're always going to have the gain. So for producers, this is an invaluable tool.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The only thing we're really working on now is just to get the it's a heavy
I'm sure.
heavy plugins.
In the back end.
Hey,
This is
speaking-
why I was sorry, LJ. This is why I was saying to damn, I forgot what I was going to ask him that fast. Oh, this is why when I did my kind of tutorial on the plugin, I kept mentioning to people because that's what I noticed was I was like, yo, look at the before, look at the after as far as like voltage and headroom. I was like, dog, it's the same thing. I was like, I felt like that was going to get overlooked, so that's why I kind of emphasized on it myself because I was like, I don't think people realize like when you're fighting for that loudness that I'm really looking at, okay, is it truly louder or am I just obviously it's just eating up a shitload of headroom. So with the plugin, I knew you did that on purpose, like made it that way. I was like, I know if I bypass it back and forth, I know this shit is going to be doing the same exact thing. But I just wanted to bring that like
and
up in front.
just to bring clarity to the NLS trick and the drive section, remember this is for your sub low harmonics. So that's why it sounds like makes your drum so beefy because we're bringing up the harmonics in those lower frequencies that are not usually targeted.
Yeah.
No different than the black box and you put it on sub or whatever the case may be. So now you're getting the low end without increasing the voltage there. Then you go to the next harmonic section and called harmonics, and you can set your frequency place to where you want to bring those upper, lower, mid frequencies. So if you set it at 50 or 80,
right.
it's everything from 80 hertz and above. So now you got think of drive low.
Yeah.
The next harmonics is low, mid, and above.
Right.
And then you get to lift. And lift is the overall attention. Consider that eerily similar to black box,
Okay.
where any record you just lift it or bring it. Like, do you want it to hit more or less?
Yeah.
You know, down or less. And the compression feature is like I tell people all the time. When you think your shit is amazing, oh, I got this shit amazing.
Right.
Turn the compression down and watch how much more punch you might have. So it's that's the one knob I always hit.
Right.
The compression knob.
Okay.
Because it get like how much of the oomph do I want?
Right, right.
Gotcha.
And I'm funny with compression on drums. Like, but the compressor that you develop with the AB is like it honestly it genuinely impressed me. Like I've always been like funny with compression on my drums because obviously you put too much compression on the wrong compressor, transient's gone. You know what I mean? Like things start to sound farty. But with this one, what impressed me was that it still sounded actually more punchy. And it was at the same volume and louder. Like I was like, oh, I actually really enjoyed what it was. I just had to bring it up. What you gonna say?
Speaking of producer,
And just so you guys know, the real voodoo, super voodoo that you guys don't even know what's going on, it secretly elongates your drums.
Sustaining.
The sustain. So you're hearing the instruments longer, so it sounds, oh my God, louder.
I totally understand. Wow. It's sustaining that transient just a little bit
just
more.
Listen to the low end only when you turn it off and on. You'll see the low end carry out a little bit longer
Right.
than with it out.
And that makes it feel louder to me.
damn, wow,
Whoa.
golly.
Yeah, that's an
Golly.
that's an old school trick for a producer. If you ever want your drums to hit harder, just make your kick longer.
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Got
Yes.
you. You FL people, y'all know how to
Hey
do
man,
that.
speaking of FL people, I would like to bring up a producer pandemic going on at your hands. Just want to know, just want to comment. A little satire, but there's always truth in jokes.
Okay.
So I produce and I'm also a writer. So my big template can end up being a full song or just a beat, right? But regardless, it got God particle on it. But there's this thing going around where we double God particling things. Right? I just want to let you know. I don't know if you're aware. I'll send him over a beat, and I know he has God particle on his bus, so it's just a double GP. I wanted to know what you thought about that.
What is your settings at? Just
Oh,
guess.
standard.
Okay.
He's 100.
Where are you at?
I'm a 37 guy on my mix bus.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you're actually 137.
Right.
Hey man,
Yo, that was
just let y'all know.
Yo, Zaire, clip that right there because that is hilarious. He said, boom.
That's your sweet spot.
Yo, I'm so dead. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. That was the simplest, best answer on earth, bro.
That was hard. That was
137.
Wow.
Do the math.
All right.
But yeah, that sometimes
That's-
I'll
that's
ask
a
him,
real
like,
thing.
I'll ask him, like, yo, what, like,
Because he'd be
what
like,
would you
yo,
at?
what you took out of your FI? I was like, I know you got GP. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's like, nah, bring it back.
Because when you take stems, sometimes when you send me stems, sometimes when he sends me stems, I'll listen. Obviously, I'm listening to the rough. I'm like,
Yeah.
nope. I'm like, you put the like, put it back
100%.
on. Like, I'm not doing it. I was like, there's no way. Like, I fall for it every
Now,
time.
I'm about to also ask you something. I'm anticipating a no, but just understand I'm aware that I'm shooting from like there's the
Got
I'm
you.
not full court. I'm shooting from the bleachers right now.
Got
Okay.
it, got it.
But
Oh, this is Steph Curry.
hey man, I'm more like Shaq, but we gonna see if it goes in. Are you ready to give us the secret that is Prometheus yet?
Look at Courtney's face. You got Courtney's face?
It'll be here soon, but you know. That's
What do you mean
it'll
it'll be here soon?
Right. I'm like,
Well,
what
I
you
mean,
know?
you put the years, so I know. Soon is like it could be 1 to 2 years. I'm anticipating.
You dropping
but-
plugins right now is like Jordan's dropping right now.
Oh God.
For real. Like that's what like I told people I was like this is probably gonna be the biggest like Orion. I was like this is the biggest plugin release of the year.
Drop
like
of the
straight
year.
up. Like it is. It just is. And then
Yeah, because
obviously
there's no anticipation. It feels like a lot for like we
Yeah.
wait for Black Friday or NAMM, and we get a bunch of new shit that we might not even end up feeling like we need,
Right.
because it feels like everything is just being remade and
Yeah.
remade.
Dude,
and
it's the. I'm like, dude, I can't have another compressor, bro.
yeah,
Like,
seriously.
if these 400 don't do what this one does,
Yeah, it's
like,
where we at then. Right. Like kind
but there are compressors that I wish they made
Uh-huh.
type of stuff that you just think in your head and
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, damn, I wish there was a compressor called Clear that just makes your shit absolutely perfect and does not take a transient out, just reshapes your shit.
just
and
reshapes it.
that's what I guess we said this last year. We did our plugin awards. That's why we love Cradle, because it's not what we've been getting. Like even on both sides, the instrument side,
Yeah.
because like how many piano plugins can we get?
Right.
But everything.
Like, what
we've
if I
seen-
told you I can give you a plugin? Now, it's not going to mix your vocals.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put it on it, all your resonant frequencies are gone.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah.
Gone. You don't even have to notch nothing. It's just done for you.
Right.
That's the shit that needs to come, bro. Not, oh, we made the Poltec 4000.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. Being real honest with you, I could be wrong, and I'm cool with being wrong.
Right.
But I just attached that to Prometheus in my head. Sorry.
Prometheus, damn, that's a good ass fucking. I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
That secret, I've been talking about that shit to the guy. I was like, he just put top secret next to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which we all like, we're kind of like wondering. Yeah, you
fuck.
put that stuff.
And
Like,
then
you know
we just
what, you know-
started. We just started making parlays on it. It was like,
That's
nah,
a
I
fact.
bet it could be.
That's a fact. Yeah, I appreciate you. You know what I appreciate you, man? I appreciate you for bringing marketing and making the space fun.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we are. That's what we're about. Like when it comes to like these plugin companies, audio companies, thinking to themselves
Just-
that they're going to put out.
Let me correct you.
Uh-huh.
I feel as mixers, we cool as shit.
Very true.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we part of the fam too.
Yeah.
So I think I made mixing a vibe.
Yeah.
No, I
Because
agree.
before my time, it's just the old guys.
Yeah.
And you walk in and their shirts tucked in and they give you the mix of life.
Yeah.
Right.
The vibe. It's like, we ain't going out after.
No.
Yeah, let's
We're
put a
definitely
hoodie,
not
yeah.
going out after this. We ain't hanging out
It's
like that.
the
for
dress
sure.
shirt versus the hoodie, and that's. I mean, not to bring us into it, but I feel like that's why I love the convo around this pod, because it's not the, hey guys, so we're gonna talk about the
Yeah,
seafloor
no.
today.
Not at
And
all.
your success is going to be predicated half on that.
Just on that.
Like,
Absolutely.
your skills is one part, but the way you work a room and the politics in this game is half the battle.
Right, right.
Like you could have, man, I got 4 clients, big artists, huge. 3-4 years from now, they're gone.
Yeah.
Right.
What you gonna do?
Right. And so are you.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
So I tell people like, oh my, man, I'm such and such engineer. I was like, all right, well, who else have you mixed? Just such and such? Nigga, you ain't hot. Because if you mix and say, I don't want to say anybody because they got all kind of engineers, but say you mix the biggest rapper in the world,
Right.
and nobody's coming to you, you got to say to yourself like that, because a lot of our whole calling call, all our commercials are singles.
Yeah.
What people hear, that's all we got.
Right.
So I tell people all the time, politic.
Yeah.
Right.
Find your vessel.
Right.
Find your artist. You got to be an A&R too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to target people, because when it comes to clients and making records and mixers, people click up. There's
Right.
clicks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There's people that I can be like, yo, I'll kill that mix. They ain't never leaving Ollie. I could be the greatest in the world. I ain't same with me. Oh, I need Jaycen to mix my. I hate that the most.
Wow.
Jaycen got to mix my vocals, but somebody else is mixing it. I'm just like, dude, I be cheating sometimes. I be like, yo, say I did it. Like, what? What am I gonna do?
Because it's about getting the best product at the end of the day, not just
Right.
like name brand shit.
Right, I understand. But then some people get married. Obviously, some people
Married
get
to
really
the-
attached to
yeah.
your name. You know what I mean? Like obviously, and just
It's a
your work.
weird doctors.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to your heart doctor,
Right.
and you're gonna listen to him.
Right.
And you want the best,
Right.
one you're comfortable with,
Right.
not somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
But you're asking yourself, well, why isn't it like that when it comes to these notes? Like when you go to your doctor and the doctor says, hey, you need to take this medicine, you need to do this, this, and the third, you're going to do exactly what your doctor says.
Yeah.
Right.
A mixer, we send you to mix, you like the first thing you're saying, oh, this shit is, we need to change this, instead of listening to your doctor.
Wow.
It makes no sense. Like music is always going to be great when everybody stays in their lane.
Wow.
I get that.
And I have a lot of artists that come here, we have incredible success.
Right.
And then now they're the producer, the mixer,
Yeah.
the everything.
Right.
And then they go the way of the dodo bird.
Right.
Like, I'm not writing songs.
Yeah.
I don't know how to write songs.
Right.
But I know, I'm comfortable with saying I know the temperature outside. You're paying me or paying us for our ears to be closer to the average person in the street. I'm not mixing for the block. That's the same thing with Despacito. I wasn't mixing it for Latin America, like, oh, the conga's up, the kick down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like,
Right.
conga's down, kick up.
Right.
You know, bring a little bit of us to the culture, and it changed the game. And
Yes,
now
yeah.
everybody's Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's so true. I
What?
would.
Yeah. It's kind of like in the same realm, but a bit different, a lot different. I'm lying. But Dr. Joshua, man, I don't know how
Joshua.
I don't know how technical you are as far as like computer specs are, but I see a lot of people tend to really wonder how much do you need, especially with the Max. I think fucking 120 gigs of RAM now is the
Probably
new
128
Max.
probably,
Fucking
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Do you know a sweet spot at all for, I guess, where today's plugins are at? What usually
No,
hits?
not at all. I think it's going to get a lot better with the elevation of the chips.
Yeah.
I think once that gets figured out, I think now from my head guy over there could probably tell you more, but I believe Apple's now using their own,
Yes.
so that's helped the speed up tremendously.
Yeah.
But in 5 years, computers are going to be completely different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
Quantum computing, all that other stuff.
No, I'm talking about our artist Apple computers is going to be completely different, because you got to understand now computers are teaching computers. Like there's no true AI yet,
Right.
but there's algorithms and machine learning. So these machines are now learning how to build better chips.
Right.
And
And
shout, hey,
wow.
by the way, off camera, shout out Mike Seberg is in the building.
Yo, I wanted to tell Mike, I've heard.
Man,
Many people talk about you sidebar, bro.
Let's
Just
bring
let you
Mike
know.
in.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of how can I say urban legends about Mike. Like, I've heard a lot, man. It was like it's probably Mike. I think Mike knows what. Yeah, like trust me, bro. Like it was good to meet you. When you came out, I was like, Mike. I was like, that's Mike. He's a real person.
You remind me a lot of Mike.
Oh, interesting. I appreciate that. Okay.
Like he's very inquisitive and really, like you'll see him all the time. Fucking Google. If he don't know it,
Right.
he's going to figure it out immediately.
Right.
And I will pleasantly say that fortunately enough, he came into into my building in my wheelhouse. But this guy, without him, I would not have the God Particle or Orion.
Wow.
At all.
Right. Wow.
Like he is a fucking audio genius.
Wow.
So everybody hit up Mike with your questions. Don't hit me up.
I'll leave a link in the description.
Because I asked Mike.
Say less.
Mike.
I guess, on that note, as far as the next 5 years and things of that nature in the future, I don't know if I've heard rumblings about you as far as what you plan to do later on, but like what's in the cards for you later on?
He kind of gave us the rumblings.
Education.
A little bit, so.
No, I just want to know, like, for you, is it continuing mixing? Is it education? Is it the plugins? Like, what's next for you? Like, just as a person, like, what is next for you?
That's a great question. So about 4 years ago, my mom passed away.
Yes.
So my drive wasn't the same. Meaning, like, I didn't want to come in and do fucking 1 million records a day. Right. You know what I mean? So I started thinking to myself, and I was like, earlier in my career, like, how do I say this? A motherfucker would have like 18 of the top 20, something crazy, right?
Right.
And I'd be like, should I let you guys eat or should I not let you guys eat? Just being funny. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then one day, one of my good friends now came up to me and was like, Jay, I hated your guts. I said, what? It's like, yeah, man, and then I just took a step back and I was just like, what is my purpose? Like, am I here to mix records and be the mix da-da-da-da? And I was like, I don't get anything out of that. But what I get the most out of is every one of my assistants are millionaires.
Wow.
Could take care of their kids, their family, everything.
Right.
Making money, and when they leave here, they leave with one if not two of my clients.
Right. And so it keeps.
Like, think about what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I see the fruits of my labor when it comes to that, and I'm like, why can't I do that for all?
Yeah.
So the plugins were actually us being so, like, the source material that's coming in was so bad. We're just like, dude, what are we going to do, man? Like, the art's gone. Like, I'll never forget, man. Like, crazy success with Future. Crazy success.
Right.
And then one day I get a mix, and I'm like, where's the music files? They're like, nah, he don't like that anymore. He's doing everything to 2-track. I was like, well, I'm good.
Yeah. Wow.
Man, this guy can do that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I was just like, let me get it to these youngins early.
Yeah.
So now they're in at least, like, dog, just hit the indicator and you'll be in a safe place. You ain't gonna be mixing,
Right.
but you should be right.
In a good spot.
sure.
Right. I feel so good as kind of like the younger guys, like having the younger audience and being able to speak to like someone like yourself, like an OG, where we have, of course, we communicate with all these audio companies all the time. And we feel like even the way they look at us, they don't understand what this is. Like, they don't understand how important it is, or how, like, the banter between us and us being like those that kind of bridge to the younger kids, but saying, hey, you should know who Jaycen Joshua is, and this person, and having those conversations and where we're joking and one gotta go is like, a lot of these companies don't understand that. But for instance, Cradle was just getting you, and then literally all the stuff that we've done with Cradle, like, they get it, and I appreciate them, and a lot of other audio companies just don't get it.
The best thing about their stuff that people don't even really talk about is their synths.
I've just been a big fan of this shit, like,
and they're very aware of having a dope GUI.
Yes.
Super important.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
They
the whole,
weren't
like,
gonna give me my stars though. We had to fight for the stars.
I see,
For
yo.
the stars.
Like, man, I need some fucking stars.
Can I say this? When I see the stars, I was like, "That's a different touch." Like I didn't see that coming. When you in the switching, yo, I said this is like a different touch for it.
Speaking of the stars,
I'm
I'm not gonna
dead.
lie. This just
That was
came back
fire,
into mind.
Uh-huh.
I remember you posted it. I don't know if it was a joke. I don't know if it was something real like I was trying to work on. But what the physical God particle?
Oh my God!
Goodness
the
gracious.
3D, obviously the
We were going to build it like it was something that we really wanted to do,
Right.
Until we priced it out.
damn.
Literally will take your shit.
Right.
But it could literally like A to or D to A to D back into the box, just an FPGA in the box. Just
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
inside the
wow.
box, just the shell.
Right.
With a little computer doing the God particle work. And it was like fucking crazy. Like
It was
50 grand plus.
Oh my God! Just to get it.
50 grand.
That shit would
Right.
have been hard.
That,
It would've been crazy. Just seeing it would've been crazy.
I might do it if we break a million.
I just want to see it. Honestly, I ain't gonna cap.
That's
Well,
hard.
you know, obviously, Jaycen, thank you so much, man.
For sure, man.
For having us. Thank you for
Oh,
inviting
before we
us.
go though,
Of course.
one of my favorite days, I wanted to tell them this, and this is what gets me happy, is I'm sitting outside drinking my ice cold latte, and a G-Eazy record came on. I'm like, this nigga released something? I said, okay, let me go to Tidal and look at these credits real quick. I looked at the credits, and guess whose name I saw?
Who?
My man.
On G-Eazy?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's a bag
Hell yeah, it
somewhere.
was you.
What record?
There's a bag somewhere.
No, or I just honestly just forgot.
They used your shit
Probably.
and didn't tell you?
Maybe, or it's just a sample.
Have you worked with G-Eazy?
I haven't in a long time. I used to work with him back in the day, a long time ago.
But anyway, I was so happy to see that. That's the shit that gets me, like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I just sent one of my assistants to Atlanta to work for Tricky and Dream
Okay.
Yeah.
and a bunch of other people up there doing all his mixes now.
Wow.
Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I want,
Right.
I'd rather you be great than me be great at this point because I've done it
Right.
every day,
Right.
6 days a week,
Right.
20 years.
Right.
And some of a lot of the big super dogs is like, and that's what people that's what the young engineers, just to leave this with you guys, there's a reason why Manny's still doing what he's doing.
Right.
Serpent's doing what he's doing.
Right.
How you young motherfuckers can't knock us off?
Right.
Like, not one
Right.
to knock the greats off.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not because you can't do it. Because I've been in rooms with people that have better ears than me. What's our dude from Travis Scott and 206, yeah.
Oh, Derek. Derek is nuts with Don.
People don't even understand what he did to curate that Travis Scott sound.
Sound. Yeah.
Right.
Like, he is the sound.
Right.
He literally, Travis will be like, no, fly out here,
Right.
do your thing. So that's when I told you about when he called me with Don Tolliver. He's like, they won't. I was like, oh, no, we doing this together. And what did I do? Sat right in that couch.
Right. And
You're fucking up. What you doing? Just coaching him.
Right. Yeah.
When now he's done on his own.
Yeah, he's a rap. It's a rap, yeah.
Same thing when I did with Lil Baby. What do we do with Lil Baby and Lil Durk's engineers? When we walked in to do that album, they was like, we don't want you to touch nothing. Leave the vocals out of his. I was like, what? Well, this is kind of fucking fucked up way to start it.
Right.
And I was like, who's y'all's engineers? They fucking raise their hand and they're acting. You can see that they know what their artists don't know. Like, what are you fucking doing?
Hey, man.
So I'm like, you and you, we mixing this whole album. And we did.
Right.
And it was so much fun teaching and being a part of the experience. So like I said, like, that is my goal. My goal is to pass along this information to as many people as possible and then help promote Like if somebody, a youngin, send me a dope mix or anything like that, I'm gonna be like, yo, y'all need to use this dude.
Right.
He oughta, and it's always best to like, for example, you should be the hottest dude in New York. If there's any artist that lives in New York, they should want to mix with you because they want to be there. They want to be a part of it. And there's nobody in New York.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
I get
like,
it.
how do I get Dev to change the fucking game? Because I'm not going to do what he's doing right now. So he has an opportunity to be better than me. Why would I stop that?
Understood. Man, I really appreciate the words and just everything, man. Like I said, you've never been the gatekeeper, like as far as like just keeping secrets and stuff. You since the Dave Pensado, and shout out Dave Pensado, of course. This wouldn't be possible without him and stuff like that.
No
as far as
one
giving it.
said anything before him.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Now everybody's talking.
That's right. Because I would run home. I remember the first Into the Layer I ever seen, bro. I was young. And I remember saying, like, he said, I'm going to show you this Ray J vocal. And I was like, you're going to open the session? Like, holy shit. You're going to show me the EQ? And of course, I'm young. I was young. So I'm just copying and pasting. I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? But that started a chain reaction that really, to me, shaped the entire like world. And this is why we have an audience, because so many kids have access now, and this conversation.
Well, I think you have an audience because of you guys.
Wow.
Thanks, man, for sure.
Definitely, because there's a lot of people out there that.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll talk off.
We'll talk off. But on anything else? Is there anything else you want to add, Jaycen, or anything you got going on? That's just we left it out all on the table. I feel like.
Yeah, just look out for Bass Invader and Stratosphere. That will be coming out next year.
Next year, Stratosphere. Okay.
Stratosphere's crazy.
Again, shout out Mike as well. Thank you so much, Mike, for
Mike
just
Seaver.
your hospitality and stuff. And yeah, man, we did that. I'm really happy. Shout out Jay on the boards. I appreciate everything. And and thanks to Cradle too, for actually making this happen, and as well as you and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll take us out.
Wait, 10 free God particles to your crew, to your listeners.
10. All right, so we gotta figure out how we gonna divvy this up. Yo, best comment.
We gotta figure out how we gotta divvy this up.
The best comments. I'll give 2 out to the best comments, and then we'll figure out the rest of the 8.
Yeah.
I got you. Look, I'm gonna spread this out.
Hold on.
Okay.
God particle and Orion.
Orion. Oh,
Best
wow.
comments. Best 2 comments right now, and it will give you. And I got you. Diamond members, you're good. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Really appreciate that.
For real.
And I'll take us out on that note. This has been the My Audio Nerds podcast for audio nerds like yourself. Please make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Remember, 2 big comments is going to get Orion and Guard Particle.
Nah, 3 of them.
All right, maybe 3.
3
We'll talk.
of them.
All right, stop playing it, because then they're going to be like, yo, you're 2, but 10.
Yeah.
We got 10. We're going to use them
we
right.
got 3 of them.
And, obviously, you can become a member of the channel. Like I said, our members, Ben saw this video. Our members also get access to Money in the Store, exclusive content. They already saw this video, for instance, and a bunch of really cool things. And again, Jaycen, I just want to say thank you so much, man. You're really a hero, bro, for me and just a lot of people. So thank you for having us in the studio. And, that's it. All right, take us out. Thanks. All right.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say this to you guys.